Second, all right, 7:07.
We have signed the bills. We are reviewing the minutes. So item 3, review and consider approving new vouchers we have done. Vindy, do you have a chance to read the minutes for February, March, April, May, June, and September?
Yes,
Okay, Alan has found most of the typos. I've read them, Alan's read them. Can I have a
Yeah,
motion?
two very minor typos, which
Can I have a
I think have
motion
been
to
fixed over.
okay, I'll
approve
make a motion.
with all the typos corrected?
I motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, Alan, do you second?
Yep, I second it.
Okay, make that unanimous for February 9th, March 2nd,
Okay, good. Can I
April
just
6th, May 4th, June 8th, and September 7th meeting minutes.
approve as amended?
Okay, Ben, you have a comment.
All right, if the other commissioners agree, I would suggest that when we do the minutes, because these are public records, yeah, we listed a little bit more formal, like Commissioner Roy, Commissioner Rudden,
Yeah,
stuff like that, rather than just first names, because, somebody to go back in time,
I can do that.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know, does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to do it on these or do you?
No, it's fine.
going
It's-
forward, or even just first and last name.
Because I can do just to find and replace and swap them out if you want.
No, these are fine.
No, it's fine.
But going-
Approved these as amended.
Going forward, yeah, just make even just last name.
Yeah.
I know in the minutes I take for the Holliston Board of Assessors, I do first and last name every mention.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'll list the commissioners, and then throughout it, I'll refer to myself as Director Roy.
Yeah,
Because we, and I don't know if we do that here, but I would imagine we do. We put these on the town website.
Right.
They
So
are.
they're open to the public.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good suggestion. Alan, do you have any issue with that?
I have one comment, which is sort of weird. If you run into somebody who's like F. Scott Fitzgerald, you really want to put Scott rather than F, but yeah.
Right.
No, I would think either last name or first and last name, Dan, just so it looks more official.
yeah, I mean, you want Commissioner blank or you want,
I personally, I don't care if that's in front of it or not, but
Yeah, I don't care either way either. This is all up at the top, there, you got attendance and you list our names, but if you said commissions in attendance,
yeah,
just to kind of, then it's a little bit easier to follow for somebody who cares.
you know, 20 years from now, if anybody looks.
Right.
yeah, I mean, I can do
And
that.
they are the official record. Even though I understand the selectmen are no longer gonna print the
know.
annual town report.
99% of them aren't read, but every once in a while you'll get that hot item, say it's say it's a rate increase or something like that, or.
I actually do read them quite religiously, so.
Okay. But
I look at other boards, I read the.
but I mean for the
Yeah,
general public to look at.
yeah, I actually read the selectmen's minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
fairly frequently,
Yeah.
like almost every meeting.
I just know from my experience, every once in a while I get a call from a developer or an attorney to question some minutes that I had maybe
Yeah.
a year ago or something like that.
And we do know Hopedale reads ours religiously, so,
Right.
Yeah.
That's all.
okay, we have,
Good job.
we have no new business on the agenda,
Well, actually, so
except. you
there's stuff,
have
but we can
one-
get to it later.
Well, that's under item 8.
Yeah, and there's another one that happened at 2 o'clock today. which
Okay, well,
is
let's
under
go.
Infrastructure.
Is there any update on the water sewer study beyond what we learned at last month's?
So the water study, so Jack Hunter wanted to be with us, but he's on vacation. He was leaving today, but I did talk to him the other day. He says there's 4 locations. They are trying to start with the town-owned properties, which is, the 52 Providence Street, which is like that Paddock property. And then the Providence Street property down behind the cemetery
4 locations for test wells?
for test wells.
Yeah, okay.
So 2 are private, 2 are.
Two
town-owned?
are private, 2 are public. One of the private parcels has already told us they're not interested.
Okay.
And I think they wanted to start with the public just because they're simpler.
Okay,
They got
Hmm.
approval from conservation to do the test wells in
And
terms of wetland stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he thinks they're gonna hopefully drill within the month.
And
On three of the sites?
the two
Just the two
public
public, okay.
sites.
there is quite a bit of town-owned property down along the Mill River.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What's
believe
the most promising of the four sites then?
That I don't know. I think they're just, I'm not sure if the study made that distinction. It just identified those four locations.
Well, as long as you're starting, that's gonna,
Personally, I think that Paddock property is central to the town. You know, the one down on Providence Street is far away, but it's also a place that Milford looked at in the eighties.
Okay.
And I think the issue there was they found water just not enough to make it economically viable
for Milford,
for Milford.
might be for here.
And then the one private was Varney and the other one was some unknown property.
Peter Dunn's,
No, it was somebody else.
and Barney said no.
Varney's the one that said they're not interested. And they didn't push, they just had very informal, I think, at this point.
Okay.
Hang on.
So here's the thing, if we're able to get it under 100,000 gallons per day, it doesn't require a water management permit. I don't know if you guys even know what that is, but
Yeah.
that's a big deal, because then you're under a lot of regulatory
Yeah.
requirements because of that, so.
Okay, the next item we have is discussion on this draft amendment. For the Hopedale contract. Which, if I remember, town council drew up for the purposes of seeing if Hopedale would let us. Supply water to people converting to business not in our zoning. My understanding candidly was it was gonna be to the number of bedrooms that were there. But this version says, Title 5 usage for 4-bedroom family dwelling, which is 440 gallons a day.
Correct.
Do we know what the average household takes in our system?
I was thinking that, I don't know, I'd have to like go through them all. I know the minimum, even if you have one bedroom, is 330. It's 110 per bedroom, but a minimum of.
No, I
330.
mean what we use
Um,
on our system.
I have to do the math, I wanna say somewhere around 1,000 to what's cubic feet, 1,000 to 1,500 cubic feet seems to be an average water bill. But
You know
that's
what's gonna be,
Per day?
No, that's per quarter, so I have to do some math on
it's
it.
gonna be in the ASR report. That's filed in March, so if you look at the ASR report, their numbers.
All I feel
It's
is
at the end of the report.
if we approve this to send to Hopedale, I think the first question they're gonna get or ask Tim, and then ask us is, what's your average property?
Hang on.
and
What's the per capita usage for the people that are on the system? Yeah, 110, I think it's generous. That's usually what sewer calculations are.
Right, but this is 440 a day.
Yeah,
So we're talking the gas station that's being built.
Yeah.
We're talking Gasco. Who's not connected?
So I think you're looking at the potential development at the corner, the potential development at 147, which is Harry O. Then you're looking at,
My house.
then you're looking at conversions of existing residential houses. That's an option.
Yeah, just, my house is going up for sale next year.
The future of the Mila Thayer property. Now that warehouse would have used 3,000, but something smaller could go in there. I mentioned this in the email, the 35 Cape Road development has been withdrawn.
This is the one on the
Several
corner,
years ago, on
one
the
on the
corner
corner
of
of Bates.
I'm
Okay.
trying to find our numbers here.
So I think, has everybody read this through?
I know.
It's very legal, but the upshot is, instead of saying you could, well, actually, what we say right now is you can only put in what business would have been allowed prior to 2005 zoning. And now what this says is you can use 440 gallons a day if you convert it to a business.
The only question I would ask, do we want to push to get it up to 5?
And it would have a deed restriction, by the way, on the deed.
Right, so that's Hopedale's, because Hopedale's concern is volume, so that's Hopedale's assurance, is there be a deed restriction on the property. that
To a max of 440 a day.
Um,
Okay, you want to get it to
I just,
550?
I think we
Well,
should
it's
get
not
every,
residential, right? It's commercial.
they're not gonna use 500, I mean, they're gonna use, so like, we have commercial, like that car wash,
It would depend if it's gonna be a restaurant. If it's gonna be
Okay,
a restaurant,
what if-
that
what if
number's
it-
not enough.
right, which is what Hopedale wants, because they don't want a restaurant in town.
Right.
But like that auto shop place, they
Yeah.
use like maybe 100 cubic feet in a quarter. They're using no water.
Yeah.
These
Well, how many
people are
cars
using,
run through that?
no, the car wash is on a well.
The regulatory requirements for DEP is 65 gallons per person per day. You know, it's,
Yeah,
they want you to be under that. So if you look at the number in the ASR, so we should be under that 65 gallon per capita day. It's gotta be toward the back of the ASR, toward the end.
yeah, the problem is it combines Dudley and Cape, so this number's, and I'm only
Doesn't-
seeing
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Well,
maximum single day pumped volume.
I'm looking at this though,
I've got that.
okay, 440 gallons a day. Would that support a Chick-fil-A?
So that,
No,
funny you
No.
mentioned that.
That would not.
It would, so restaurants are 20 gallons per seat. I looked it up, fast food.
a
So,
day,
yes, that's Title V.
so 20 by 30.
So how many seats does a Chick-fil-A normally have?
600.
Gallons a day.
Hang on, commercial restaurant. So a fast food,
So
restaurant fast food
sink a well.
is 20 gallons per the number of seats. So if you only had 25 seats in your restaurant, this would let me type. That's 1,000. So so it'd have to be a very small or with minimal seating.
Well, I look
Unless
at,
it's just a takeout.
I look at this,
Yeah.
the question is, we're asking Hopedale to say two things. One, you can now put a full business in on a lot, regardless of what
Right.
was there before. That's number one. In return for that, it'll be deed restricted to a maximum of 440 gallons a day. Do we want to push the ask to 550?
I think we should, because how many homes have come off the system where we've lost them? You know, so we're trying to recoup a little bit of that allowance from,
I mean, the legalese is worded fairly well.
yeah,
The benefit out of this too is revenue. It's revenue for Hopedale. Because like Harry O is gonna come to us and want us to shut off his capital fees because he can't use his water connection. Versus Hopedale could keep collecting that money so he can use, and they'll use no water.
yeah, I would say we
It's a
double it,
win-win.
because if it's a small restaurant,
You want to double it?
yes,
What, 800?
yeah.
I will say, so on the flip side of this, the whole thing that kicked this off, so that it's the Plains Road, just for the record. the
Yeah.
Plains Road development, the traffic light, they need Mendon to agree because the traffic light, a significant part of it is gonna go in Mendon.
Correct.
And Jack also thinks we may be able to work with that developer to finish the water main work for the new meter pit over there too.
Okay,
But it's
But-
all tied in.
okay.
It's just what do we think Hopedale,
You know, what if there's, somebody wanted to put a Starbucks over there or something like that?
right?
Or, you know, Panera Bread or something like that. You just, you don't want to restrict it where,
Well, even a Starbucks doesn't use all that much water.
well, the
Right.
Starbucks has seating now.
What's a restaurant throughway service area? That's 150
You're right, it doesn't
gallons.
use a lot of water, but
A restaurant is 35 gallons per times the number of seats and fast food is 20. So I don't know what the average number of seats is for a small restaurant.
Chick-fil-A is deemed fast food.
Yeah, like how many, could you, if you built a thing with 50 seats,
Yeah.
you're looking at 1,000.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know, the 440 are really restricted.
Yeah.
It's on 140. You know, businesses are gonna want to build something there, maybe a restaurant. There's
Could
not a
you
lot.
argue that the allowed amount should be double the Title V because nobody's actually using the Title V amount? Like you say, it's so, it's a maximum theoretical amount for the septic design.
Well, if you double it, we're at 80.
Well, if you did 550 doubled would be 1,100, right?
Right, yeah,
How many 5-bedroom homes do we have there though? We gotta be
Yeah.
realistic
Right.
in what's there. The average house that has been there,
There were two buildings there, right?
you have to look at the houses that are there now.
Yeah.
The average house that's there, I think you might have a 4. I can't think you have a 5. Well, Skinner was a 5. Most of the houses are 3 to 4
Yeah,
bedrooms.
yeah, if that.
And 4 is pushing it, let's say 3. Given, if you look at the size of the houses that are left, you're probably talking 3 bedrooms.
Well, if you do it that way, Kevin, it's 110 gallons per bedroom.
Right, but you know,
And that,
what we're talking about is you don't know who's gonna combine what in the future.
What that's,
Right.
combining lots is something else that's not covered in here. You know. I don't know if that.
Well, for instance, I have 3 bedrooms, my next door neighbor has 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
You put us together though, and you're a 4-acre site with 200 feet of frontage.
With 5 bedrooms. Previously.
yeah, commercial zone, you could do a business there, right?
No, it's most likely gonna be a small fast food place
Yeah,
because of the soccer field.
Yeah.
You gotta figure, nobody's gonna put a restaurant where Dick Skinner's house was. Because you got a Dunkin' Donuts and you're gonna have a gas station, most likely with a drive up with selling coffee and gas, and that gives you 2 gas stations on opposite sides of the street. You're not gonna put it opposite of Dunkin' Donuts. It does not make sense.
That developer had mentioned that he does banks and gas service stations, so, you know, if
so
service
that's
is
what I
out,
would do, this is
it'd
adequate.
be a bank for him.
Right.
This is adequate.
But it does make sense to have a restaurant near that soccer field, because that soccer field, all those people have nowhere to go.
Well,
Right,
any of those lots, all those little dinky lots, all down the, you know, what else are you gonna do? You can't build new housing.
You go
They're
to,
zoned commercial.
you know, if you're one of the 2 people a year who go to the new marijuana store next to
Yeah.
Gasco. And you happen to get the munchies right away.
Well, and the,
that place is a lot of traffic.
the present Gasco built thing is like 50% vacant and was intended by somebody to be a restaurant, which never happened.
Next door. And that went to be the pot shop. Yeah, he had the liquor license.
Yeah.
And then when the pot shop came, he let the license lapse. But any event. I can't argue with the legal wording, so I think we're down to the,
Yeah.
What's-
the volume?
Alan, what do you feel about the volume? What do you think it should be?
The which,
The volume of water.
I think the way it's worded is probably all right.
So you're at 440. That's the Title V usage for single 4-bedroom dwellings, 440 gallons a day.
Right.
You want,
I wanted at least 800, if not
Okay.
1,000, but yeah, minimum 800.
you don't vote, but you want 800.
I would, I mean, in an ideal
It's just
world,
restriction.
in an ideal world, if we could get 1,000,
Yeah, it's just restricted.
with the understanding that, I mean, because they're not gonna use 1,000 gallons of water a day.
Well, the
but
other thing is.
That's limiting the size of the business that could potentially use water on the lot. That's Hopedale's concern.
I just want to throw out an observation. If we ask Hopedale for 440, they might say, we'll give you 220.
Oh, this says they presented to them, this is our.
This is just very, yeah,
Before we presented to them.
But this is what we're gonna present to them
Right.
for consideration. So I'm just, having dealt with them probably longer than anybody in this room.
Yeah,
If we ask for 440, if I were them, I'd cut it
cut it in half, yeah.
to make it look good for the residents of Hopedale. So for that reason,
and
I might want to increase it and let them cut it back.
Right.
See, I feel if you raise it to 550, they might knock it down to 300. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but we need somebody to make a motion for something so the rest of us can react to it.
All right, I want to make a motion that we accept this as written. With the, with editing the volume amount to 800 gallons per day,
800 or 880.
880.
Is there a second on that?
Second,
Any discussion? Alan, you were,
there is one other thing.
you were, can I just ask, you were very comfortable at 440. You're willing to double it?
As good as any, and I think anything we choose is just sort of arbitrary, but
It is. We could say though, we based it on Title V flows.
I mean, I think the
the-
restaurant might scare them off, but that would be the intent, a small business, not a big
Well,
warehouse.
the thing is, it's commercially zoned over there.
Right.
And so it's revenue for them as well.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Right now, the wordage says, shall not exceed the Title V uses for single-family 4-bedroom dwelling. It sounds awkward to say a single-family 8-bedroom dwelling.
Correct, yeah. How many lots are there? Is it just one lot? I thought there was a combined two.
So
lots.
the way this is written, I believe it would apply to any of the 138 lots within the Cape Road contract.
So from,
But zoning, like you can't
Okay.
do this in Talbot Farm,
okay,
obviously.
on the Bates side, you have 2 houses. So if you're on the side where Bates is coming out,
Yeah,
from Bates down to Hartford Avenue, you have the Mila Thayer house in the corner. And then you have the house next to, the restaurant, the, Irish Pest Pub. Oh, you also have the, residence for the church.
Right.
So that's 3. On the opposite side from, what's your parents' street called?
Barrows.
Thank you. I'm getting drawn blank. From Barrows down, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, close to 6. But then we're not taking into account all the houses going all the way down to Lowell's on each side of the street.
right.
And on my side of the street, that's another, what, 15, 20?
Well, the water main ends. So you got 1, 2, I mean, if you're talking total lots just in that zone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22,
Commercial.
29, 8, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 6, 7, 8, there's like 40 of them, and of those,
How many are houses?
probably, I'm thinking the other way, probably 8 to 10 of them are existing businesses in some fashion.
Okay, so that's plus or minus.
So can you bring up a good point though?
The rest
30.
of these are housing.
I'd say, so we're talking 25 to 30 houses.
Yeah, I mean, I can make a final number.
No, we don't. I'm just talking about, they're gonna ask the questions.
But we should, the other thing that we touched on, this might want to include some provision for eliminating connections or combining lots. Because otherwise, that might not, like the way this is written, it's very lot specific still. It doesn't have a mechanism to combine 2 lots and say this now becomes one entity and gets rid of a house. Or maybe there's a way to negotiate, I don't know. Multiple lots for,
Yeah, because that's what scares me with this whole thing, that if a developer comes in and buys 2, 3 lots, and they turn around and say, well, that's not one lot, and now you're restricted to 440 gallons, because you know, 'cause
Yeah.
now just one lot rather than 3 lots.
but then Hopedale's not gonna want to.
Well, should we send this? I'm gonna suggest well, first of all, we haven't taken a vote yet, but
No.
my suggestion is we should send this back to the lawyer to be amended
Oh, yeah,
and ask for a provision about lot combinations.
There you go.
There is one minor thing. If I remember right, the Hopedale Water people are styled themselves as Water and Sewer Department, not Commission.
They are water and sewer commissioners. They are the water and sewer commission.
where does it say?
They may or may not be, but
No, they are the
they,
commissioners.
what they style themselves is department.
Tim runs the department, but the 3 people are the elected commissioners.
My guess is she just copied whatever the signature page was on the other contract, but
They are the water and sewer commission, as are we the water commission. So I think, all right now we have a motion on the floor that was seconded to go to 880 gallons. Who's it?
I want to withdraw the amendment. I mean, motion. Only because. Yeah, I was thinking like you were about the combining of lots and stuff like that. So the motion would be,
Wait a minute. You're withdrawing your motion? Are you okay with withdrawing your second?
Say again?
I'm
He's withdrawing his motion, so
That's fine.
are
Yeah.
you okay with withdrawing your second?
Yes,
Okay, then you're gonna make a new motion.
Yeah. I motion that we Um. I motion that we send this back to the attorney.
Okay, what's your gallonage?
Well, we accept this as written, condition to, review the attorney and having some type of an, provision for combining, combination of, or combining of lots.
Provision, can I make a provision that any lots combined act as one lot in the future?
Right, and so that would double our, the allotment. The allotment,
Which-
water allotment would increase based on the original number of lots. I don't know what's the word. there.
No, I think Hopedale would want it that if you combine two lots into one, you still get
You
one.
get you get just the 440 gallons per lot.
Negotiate with, to say 3 becomes 2 or something, so that
No,
everybody gets a little bit.
I probably shouldn't point out, but I will anyway. If Hopedale wants to play the hardball, then the owner of the property in Mendon could just say, well, we're gonna have 3 water services, one for each house that was there before.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well, that's got to all go to the planning board, right?
No, but Hopedale could say, no, you're not, you're getting one.
That's prohibited too, about multiple connections and.
Right.
It already happened once with the soccer field. I think when these lots get combined and split, it causes.
Yeah, so
Problems.
I think to make it palatable, perhaps the motion should be raise the gallonage.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you necessarily need to vote, let's just send her guidance and have her come back.
Well, it's a motion that we gotta
Yeah.
kick it back to the attorney and then we'll.
Well, we need at least a consensus, if
Right.
not a vote. So my suggestion would be push it up to 1,000 gallons a day
Okay,
with the provision that if any current lots are combined for the purposes of creating a business lot, any lots with a residence on them.
Yeah.
That are combined to create a larger lot for business, it's one connection at the 1,000 gallons a day.
What about, say, leave the limit alone, but only if they're combined, they could go up to 1,000 a day. Which I think is kind of what you were saying.
so the cap, yeah.
So to leave the limit at 440, 550. But then if existing residential lots were to be combined for commercial use, they could be allowed to go up to 1,000 per day.
I like that idea better.
And on Hopedale's end, it's cutting the number of total connections.
Right,
And it
because
is more use, but it is revenue to them.
yeah, because if you're gonna buy a lot, tear down a house, but you wanna
And-
build another house there, there's no need to increase
And
that.
we're gonna push it to 550 then? Or leave it at 440?
I mean,
I like Dan's suggestion, keep it at 440 with a provision that in the event that a developer buys multiple lots, that a multiple lot conversion to a single lot would be capped out at 1,000 gallons per day.
Okay, so somebody wants to buy my lot, they get 440 a day.
Right,
Okay, if somebody wants to buy 8 of the lots from Barrows down to wherever, are they in the system?
everything's on the system up to the house at 60, 62 before the church. And then on the other side, it's that last house before what used to be just a wee day.
Okay, so let's say somebody buys all those lots for one business, they get 1,000 gallons.
And then the church, I think, is on a well. Just a wee day, I think, is on a well. The car places are in Bellingham water, I learned.
Yeah, but what it would mean is
Yeah.
somebody buys 5 house lots to put a business in, they're 1,000 gallons a day. Which is less water than probably they're selling now.
Yeah, I mean, each one of those houses, if it's, if you're looking just at Title V rates, it's 330, 440. 3 of them, 2 of them. I don't know.
All right. So what we're gonna do is ask council to rewrite it, leave it at 440. Or leave it with the wording for 440 and add a clause that says, should any lots with residences on them be combined, the maximum would be 1,000 gallons a day.
Correct, yeah, I got not to exceed 1,000 gallons per day, yeah, so I, the way I wrote it, increase the lot, and,
But she's gonna write it.
yeah.
We just want to direct her to rewrite it. So Alan, are you happy with that?
Yeah,
And
I am happy with that, yes.
I have one curious question.
yes,
If I remember the way the zoning is actually done, the, unbuilt lots that aren't actually officially lots even,
yes,
is actually part of the Cape Road zoning, business zoning.
yes.
I'm not sure that changes anything.
No, but we're talking, if, let's just say, okay, from Barrows Road to the entrance to the solar farm. We have 3 house lots totaling, let me just put it in my head. 2, 2, and 1, 5 acres and 300 feet of frontage.
Yeah.
So somebody buys all 3 lots to put a business in. The most they get is 1,000 gallons.
The way we got this drafted up, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so do you have that down to return it to her with those comments?
Yeah, so we're good with the template.
We're
We're good with the
good
four
with the template,
forty.
we're good
We'd
with
like
the
a provision
440.
for any lot with residents on them combined for commercial use, they could go up to 1,000.
A maximum of 1,000.
1,000 gallons per day.
And if she adds that in, then we'll present it to Hopedale.
And then and then I see what Jack says too, if he has more feedback. I mean, I don't,
Okay.
he might have a better idea of what they're open to talking about.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and then when Alan was talking about the land where there's no lots there, does that even
Well,
exist here?
I believe the way this is worded, this is still restricted to
This is
those
just-
138 lots
Right,
in the
that's what I-
contract. So the 23 Cape Road is still on his own. He's getting
Yeah.
his fire.
Totally separate, right, okay, this just for the existing
There
connection.
aren't there's maybe 1 or 2 lots, like the back land behind your house and the other land that became solar. There's that weird lot between Bates and Cape, but
Yeah, but
most of it's unbuildable.
the background lot behind me
Or
is
locked
useless
out.
without the front lot.
Right.
It has no access
I
unless you
believe-
want to canoe in.
I believe every lot with frontage has been built out in some capacity or is currently vacant, like the corner there.
With frontage, yes, there are 2 lots that still belong to the people who rent the land for the solar on my side, but neither of those has frontage on 140, and there is a 50-foot frontage on Hartford Avenue for one of those lots.
There's like weird, like, Leone owns this massive lot back here behind Bates, but I think it's just.
If they don't have frontage on the road,
Right.
they can't.
And I think there was a
But
zoning.
if there's one like
shut
Shepard
that
said
down.
though, with frontage on Hartford, that should have, we should actually include that in there because it's one that somebody could develop.
Yeah, no, that's part, well, that they would fall under this contract, like this proposed development at the
Yeah.
corner,
That's a huge lot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 4 lots owned by the same family,
Yeah.
that Nelly family. That only 2 were built, the solar was only built on 2 of them.
Yeah.
And the family basically now keeps the others as open space because they get enough rent coming in.
Yeah.
But there is a house up front there. I mean, there are. And the other thing is on my side of the street, you still have the 200-foot depth and that's it. It was the Gasco side that we extended it backward.
I honestly don't, hang on, what did we even do? It's changed so many times.
No, I know what the zoning is.
Um,
The zoning on the Gasco side of the street up until the corner of Bates. Now goes back to the end of the lot. On my side, it's still 200 feet in. Which, believe it or not, happens to be my entire front lot.
Well,
That's old.
you selling?
It's going up next year, yeah.
Okay.
I'm putting it up. I'm moving out after 25. So
That's it? You're gonna stay? You're not gonna be in town?
I'll be in town.
Okay. So, it's good.
I'll probably be in a much smaller place somewhere else, but I'll be in
Yeah,
town.
okay. All right.
I just, at my age, I can't carry that property to maintain.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
all right, so we're done with that infrastructure. We
Yeah,
don't have
you got all
anything.
that, right? you get the
Yeah,
gist of
so
it.
back to council and.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately,
Are we being recorded where you can actually, because
yes.
my meetings are like that, I record, but I'll go back and listen just to make sure I get it all right.
Okay, are there any liens to talk about?
Also just back up under the infrastructure. At 2 o'clock today, I get a phone call from the police. Apparently there was an accident at the corner of Talbot and Hartford Ave East that took out the hydrant. So we'll be dealing with that. The good news is I found out the company that Highway uses that handles all this, they do hydrants and they do all the insurance stuff.
Yep,
So we're just gonna hand them the accident report and say, fix it, and they'll do all the billing.
and they build up the
Cause
guy
I'm never,
with,
that sucked and I'm never doing that again. That took like 9 months to get that check.
and basically then the person who hit it pays for it.
Yeah, they'll file an insurance claim. It snapped it off. It's not anything horrible. I shut the valve off just to be safe. So it's just a
Okay.
breakaway, but
And that was obviously couldn't be anticipated.
that was, yeah.
Liens, that's the other one that couldn't be anticipated.
No, so the lien, I just put that on there. So the billing, I'm gonna read the meters hopefully soon. I'm just trying to get caught up on mowing, and then the water liens for FY 23 are gonna go out. I just figured I'd mention that.
Okay, and then you did have an item that couldn't be anticipated 48 hours in advance.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from a resident at 25 Bates who got a late notice. He says they never got the bill, which is why they didn't pay it. Yes, they went to pay their taxes and looked at the water online and it wasn't posted yet, so they didn't think about it. I did check, they are usually pretty current, so he's asking to waive the $25 late fee.
How do we know they never got the bill?
We don't. I will say, I mean, like I said,
Is this his first time?
it's the first time it's happened in
How long have they been there for?
years. It's,
Yes, and they've never had
it's, what's his name?
That's-
Bob Nealon. I mean, they're good people.
I know the name.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
they're always polite,
I'll make a motion to waive the late fee for the address stated.
25 Bates, I believe. I'll double check, but
Okay.
Any objections, Alan?
Second, yeah.
All right, unanimous.
Yeah. What was the, I just want to put the address there,
25 days.
25 Bates,
25 Bates Road.
I believe it's NEALON.
NEIL something.
Okay.
Make a buck.
Okay.
But I think,
Motion to abstain till late.
NEILAN.
Okay, does anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Let me just look at a calendar real quick.
I'm looking at the November date would be the 2nd.
We should be good now for quite a while with the first Thursday, unless something comes up for me. I mean, I'll keep you posted. There could be an issue on February 1st,
All right, well, right now, why don't we set the next
but I
two?
think November 2nd should be good.
November 2nd, and then it would be December 7th. For Arbor Day.
I mean, I think the first Thursday seems to work good. It's just every now and then I have things that come up.
I know, but why don't we just,
at least
for
if-
clarity, make sure everybody knows, it would be
Plan on that.
November 2nd and December 7th.
It would be good to get Jack to come
Pearl Harbor
talk
Day.
to us with more
I like that.
substantial
That'll be my
information.
son's, third wedding anniversary.
Yes, son.
Just to tell you the difference in age groups. When he called me to say, we've decided on a date is December 7th, I said Pearl Harbor Day, and he said, what? And
Unbelievable.
millennials, it's
Yeah.
not a frame of reference.
No history. No reference to history.
No, there's history, but it's not a frame of reference. Like, you know, I lost a relative. I lost my great uncle at Pearl Harbor. My dad walked out of college and enlisted because his only cousin died at Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, they told me that.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it just doesn't have relevance. Like 9/11 has relevance to them.
To this generation, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're
That's it, right?
turning at 7:46,
Yeah, motion to adjourn. All right.
which was unanimous.